right, this has been a really good time period here for us, the beginning of this week and last week. Coming off of playing really well lately, I think we are peaking at the right time. The last couple games, obviously the Georgia game and 3-score win and 30-point win at Arkansas. So I do think that we're playing really well right now, which is exciting to be playing well at the end of the season, at any season, let alone when there's a new playoff format. So that's exciting, and I think we're getting stronger, being out there, and Trey now looking like he's ready to go, knowing that we haven't had him for, 3.5 games, and over that time I think Jackson's led the country in passing without him, so really excited to get the best receiver in the country back, and some other things. It's the first time our O-line, first and second string, has been fully healthy and practicing, and Logan Diggs is doing the most that he's done. And then we had a lot of guys playing hurt. Caden Lee, J.J. Pegues, really Princely's just still coming back, which is exciting to see him back the last couple weeks after, not playing in the LSU game, not playing at the end of the Kentucky game. So it's really exciting for all these guys. Where a lot of times as a team you're struggling at the end of the year health-wise to be in the best shape really we've been all year long. And so now we've got to build on that and not just feel good about how we've played, but come and play even better. And so that's our challenge.
Questions? Who wants to start us off? Lane, I know you work. Lane, I know you work with Bill here at Alabama. Can you just talk a little bit about your relationship with him?
Yeah, really good relationship with Billy. Really enjoyed the time working together there. Helped me a lot coming into the offensive room that I didn't know anybody on the staff. And they were all, I was the only new person, period, on the staff, let alone offense. And so Billy really helped me in that transition and have a really good relationship with him. A lot of respect for him, who he is as a person, and how he treats people.
How do you face Rob Roberts' defense, when he was at Baylor and then last year at Auburn? I know, players kind of come and go. What's kind of the common challenges of facing, the type of defenses that he has from a personnel standpoint?
Yeah, I think he does a really good job, and I think that they've improved. They've improved off of last year. They've improved from early in the year. I think anytime, you change play callers, and I think really people didn't know who it was, and it was the other guy, and now it's him, and so there's a transition with players when you do that at the beginning of a season like that, and I think now you're seeing them play the best they have all year.
Questions? Go ahead. You go ahead, Jay.
Just the way this final 2 weeks of the season go, and you've done this 4 years now, with everything kind of at stake compared to now this last week, how do you kind of manage that quick turnaround, and especially with player health after Florida and then State just 6 days later?
Well, like I said, we've been fortunate, to have this bye where it was, and getting players that either, back like Trey Harris, or even like I said, players as you see kind of Caden Lee's hobbling around there, not playing at 100%. J.J. Pegues, Walter Nolan's not been 100% the last couple weeks. So it's really exciting for it to come at this time, and as we enter a really challenging game. These guys played really well last week. I think I don't know if I've ever seen a team play so different based off of a quarterback, where they go from him to the next guy. And usually that affects your offense. It seems to affect their whole team, like gives their team hope. So they play much different when he's there. So obviously, we coach. That's what we got to understand going in, and try to make him really uncomfortable and try to get to the next quarterback. So that's our goal on defense, because he's really special talent. They have really good talent, really good players. They're as good a looking physically team as you see, and talking to other coaches that have played them over the last few weeks will say that they're going to look great in warm-ups. These guys have really good players, and for whatever reason just didn't put it together early, and now they have, when the quarterbacks played, they've played really well, having beat LSU and playing Georgia really well.
Questions?
These last few weeks, you've obviously done really well offensively without Trey. Getting him back, does it add more diversity, I guess, to the offense, or is there you have to fight the urge to kind of go back to being kind of dependent on him in the passing game?
Well, it's exciting. You know, you just feel different out there at practice. Here's the best receiver in the country coming to add into a team that's throwing the ball as well as anybody in the country without him. So you guys hear me talk about there's good and bad to everything. So him being hurt has made other people have big games, step up, made us design different schemes, work different parts of the field and more tight ends and stuff. So it's just it's exciting to have.
What's this been like for him the last few weeks to, I know, try to get back, and obviously he hasn't been ready to go?
I think it's been really challenging because he's really wanted to play, and he's been close, but then he would try on Saturdays and couldn't do it. So he feels different now, and is really excited to get back in this. So it's great timing.
With the way the playoff looks like it's setting up, especially for SEC teams, and the log jam at the top, it's looking like it's heading that way. What are your thoughts on just what the SEC championship means, or the game means, for teams that maybe like y'all have 2 losses already?
Ooh, it's a challenging question. I don't know. I guess I would say, you know, it's changed. The conference championship, you know, could have a big impact both ways for people. So I've talked to other coaches, so I'll just kind of give you the feeling from some other coaches that, you know, they don't want to be in it. And, you know, the risk to get a bye, the reward to get a bye versus the risk to get knocked out completely. I mean, that's a really big risk, just to get a bye. So I think it's ended up being a very unique situation of all, you know, postseason sports, the way that system's set up there, and how you could go to that and get knocked out, and if you don't go, you're in.
Questions?
I'm not a big gambler, but that's the kind of one of them Vegas, you know, like poker table thing, like that's all in. And you're going all in, and you're going all in the best conference in football, so you got to play somebody great too. Very different than a lot of these other conferences.
And just to follow up on it, do you feel like it's inadvertently maybe diluted the meaning of not just the SEC, but some of these other conference championships that weekend?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's a secret. I think it definitely has. You know, so that just is what it is. There's a cost and benefit to everything. There's great benefits to this playoff system, and so many people being excited, and fans and programs and more games. And then there's cost too. You know, the conference championships don't mean as much. And it's not just, do you potentially get knocked out by losing it? Do you go get more injuries? So you're going to go get more injuries, play another game to get a bye, but then the other people are having a bye while you're playing. So I think that's why, I ain't going to go on record of saying it, why a lot of coaches, or some coaches I've talked to, don't want to go to it.
We asked you at the start of the season and maybe during fall camp, but just throughout these first 10 games, how much of an impact or influence has Arnett been on that defense working with Pete?
I think Zach's been great to have around. Very different systems between what he does and what Pete does. So I think it's been really great for him to have him around, and he does a great job. Really, no job's too small. Helps run different parts of service team and stuff, and I can see why he's been a great coordinator and a great motivator of players.
Kind of on the flip side of that, having Joe Judge to the staff and all that, just in what ways has he made that impact on their staff?
I don't know if you guys know, our staff does like a few plays to motivate the players at 11-on-11 offense versus defense. And Joe Judge has been a great pickup. He plays left guard for us, actually. So he's been a really good pickup in that. Give us some size on offense. We got a lot of defensive problems with our D-line on our staff. So that's the first thing that comes to mind. Besides, the guy does great with the quarterbacks. He meets extra with them, prepares. I mean, guys really work for two people, Nick Saban and Bill Belichick. So talk about somebody raised the right way about how to work, the details. He's been awesome.
Did you see what Nick Saban said on game day about Ole Miss?
Refresh me.
He said you guys are probably the best team in the SEC, or have you done a good job of staying away from that kind of noise?
He's now become the rat poisoner then. So he's doing exactly what he complained about. That changes every week based on how you play. Like, we've been playing great, but we got to do that again, He's the same that, just told me after the Georgia game, to remind our guys, the success of the past doesn't mean you're going to have success in the future. It doesn't dictate that. You got to do it again. So we got to go play, and I'm telling you, this is a big challenge, man. What were they, 4-5 or something last week in Florida, and the crowd was electric. It looked like the conference championship was on the line. So, you got a place that they play really well at home. Look at their home and road record since COVID. Very different how these guys play at home and how they play on the road. So you can wipe that Texas game out, because people want to say, well, this is how they play with Texas. They didn't have the quarterback, and they're two totally different teams at home in the road over time. So this is a really big challenge of a team that has really, really good players.
Coach, I want to revisit Austin Simmons a moment. I know after the game you talked about how important that drive was, and you anticipate, Jackson staying healthy as long as you go this particular season. But he came in as a real young player. Where is he knowledge-wise, ability-wise? How do you measure him? Because you work with tons of quarterbacks. Where do you think he is right now overall in the program? Yeah,
Austin's done a great job for somebody that's so young still. And, I mean, we saw what he did on the stage, against Georgia, coming in like that. And the way that he played and the command that he had. You've seen him in baseball go in as a freshman in SEC play and how he's pitched. So he's wired differently. That's not normal. And he's just really calm. I know there's Tua comparisons, because left-handed and smooth, but also the same thing. Neither of them are guys that get rattled, and both have now gone into big games as a freshman against Georgia. Actually, now that I think about it, and done really well.
Any questions for Coach?
Yeah, you predicted a good weekend in recruiting, and without asking about anyone in specific, it came to fruition. Just how exciting has that momentum been, and do you think there's more big wins to be had coming up soon?
I do think so. Again, obviously can't talk specifics, but just had a really good feeling. And so glad, I guess I can't really say much there. But I think that what's going on in general is a product of a lot of years of work here and changing the narrative about Ole Miss football. And you can come here and get everything that you could possibly want. And so it's good to see.
Talked about changing the narrative of Ole Miss football. When you first came here, I think that loss to Alabama, you said, we didn't come here to cover spreads or play it close with a tough team like Alabama. We came here to win. And then obviously to where the program is right now, did it take longer or shorter than you'd expect, to kind of change that, the not get close but win narrative kind of across the board?
Well, I don't know, because since then there's been close ones too. We had the ball going down to beat Alabama here. 2 years later than that. So, this is how long it'd probably take to truly get a program turned to where you could play the way we did against Georgia. Again, not just they miss a field goal at the end or we make a field goal type of game. And at a lot of times this year, we've played really well as anybody in the country. You know, look at how good South Carolina plays at home, and we went in there, and you saw what happened in that game. We missed a bunch of wide receivers wide open, you know, and still won by whatever, 20-some points. So, you know, went and played the way we did at Arkansas. And so, you know, we played we played like a top elite program, and that's taken a lot of work to get there, you know, between staff, building structure, administration, and players.
Anything else for Coach? Our last one.
Lane, when this roster, specifically defensively, was put together following that Georgia game and that sort of thing during the offseason, has the success on defense exceeded your expectations up until this point into the season from what you thought coming into the season with the roster?
Yeah, and that's hard to do. I usually have pretty high expectations. I think that what they've been able to do creating negative plays, you know, I don't have the stats in front of me, but to be where they are in tackles for losses, far and above, I believe, anybody else in the country in the SEC to do that, you know, has really been amazing. But we're not done yet. All right, thanks.